I don't like to talk shop 24/7. I like my work to do most of the talking. This is my first Telugu film. I think it definitely has lost that enigmatic quality, that sense of mystery, because everyone is so available right now, and so it's so in your face. I'm surviving pretty well, and I've been surviving for the past 21 years now.
For all film-related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Pooja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. Probably you and me have not done a Zoom in a while because we've been meeting in person.
Yes,
you know.
yes.
मुझे एक बात बताओ, आप एक फिल्म एक साल में क्यों करते हो? ये लाइक द ईद का चांद.
नहीं, मैं एक फिल्म एक साल में नहीं करता हूँ. इट जस्ट सो हैपेंड कि स्पेसिंग ऐसी हो गई. आई थिंक कोविड के बाद बहुत सारी चीजें, यू नो, जस्ट गॉट अ लिटिल टू, आई थिंक द इंडस्ट्री इज स्टिल ट्राइंग टू फाइंड इट्स वे बैक. एक पूरी नॉर्मलसी नहीं आई हमारी इंडस्ट्री में विद द थिएट्रिकल रिलीजेस. So because of that, because of the shuffling, actually I have 3 films right now that are waiting release. Or actually Tiger आने वाली थी Eid पे, this year Eid, which is almost 6 months before it came out.
Yeah.
But for some unforeseen reasons, it got delayed, and even the shooting got delayed actually because of COVID. It was supposed to probably release last year.
So I remember asking you if you're in Tiger when we met.
And I said no.
You said no. You were just very, you did mention you were going to Siberia for a shoot, but it wasn't what you were doing there. And you were the best kept
Istanbul.
Yes.
Yeah,
Istanbul. But you were not clear about what you were going
for. Yeah.
So was it like this bond of confidential?
I was lying through my teeth and hating it. And I didn't know. I was trying to come up with constructive new answers for the press, but plan ऐसा था कि the production had said very clearly कि ये ऐसा character है जो हम unexpectedly एक तरह से introduce करेंगे trailer में. And I wasn't given the go ahead to say I was part of the film, but all of you knew, the entire media knew, all the media houses knew that I was part of the film. So it was a very weird, awkward thing. In every interview, I used to either make a joke about it or either lie that I'm not part of the film, because that entry of Atish in the trailer, I don't think would be that impactful if I had given it out. I understand the media houses knew about it, but a large section of the audience was still about 50-50. Am I part of it? Am I not part of it? The press is saying it, but he's not come out and said it. So there's a certain enigmatic quality about the whole situation. So I think that worked.
But it also kind of works with you because you just keep such a low key about life and yourself in any ways. You're not the one who's constantly on putting a post, spotted at parties.
Yeah.
How are you surviving in this industry? जिसमें ना जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, FOMO नहीं हो रहा आपको?
I'm surviving pretty well, and I've been surviving for the past 21 years now. So I don't think there aren't any rules that way. There's no one size fits all kind of situation. I think each to their own. I think हर actor की एक just personality होती है, and the way their outlook to how they project themselves and the kind of films they do, and just the kind of people they are. I actually have had this question not from now, from the first film. लोग कहते थे कि film खत्म हो जाती है, you disappear, and then you come back again during the release of the film, and then of course you're doing all these media interviews and all of that, and suddenly you go out and go back into the shadows and you come back. I like to keep it that way. I've always compartmentalized things. I think it keeps me sane. I don't like to talk shop 24/7. I like my work to do most of the talking. And when the trailer comes out, I'm anyways a very private person. So there's not much to share. There is, I've written a book. I think that's as much as I've shared about my private life. And it was quite excruciating to share that also. But I think beyond that, I let the films do the talking, and then I come out and I promote them. That's how it's been from the first film.
True, but these days there's so much in your face because a lot of people say that thing about a star. Back in the day when you had Dev Saap and Dilip Kumar, and there was Mr. Bachchan, Rajesh Khan, there was an elusivity.
a star.
Yes.
No, they were like,
Yes.
you could not reach out to them. Here they are also
Yes.
very accessible. Do you think that the superstar of that time has gone away? Or do you think we still have superstars?
I think it definitely has lost that enigmatic quality, that sense of mystery, because everyone is so available right now, and so it's so in your face. You are constantly bombarded by actors through their social media, through PAP videos, through media outlets, constant interviews, umpteen reality shows, and even more award shows that you've already seen and consumed so much of it, and then the film comes out, and of course it's an added thing. But yeah, it's just the terrain that's changed. No one really has a clear answer to what works and what doesn't work. There's one understanding that probably it is overexposure. There's an understanding that the less you give out before your film release, then people yearn to see you on the big screen. But then, again, it's also a lot to do with the actor's personality, with their ideologies, the way they want to be seen or project themselves. Like I say, each their own, and nothing is like, okay, this works and this doesn't work. I think eventually there's so many things, so many variables at play. The film has to be good, uh, all that comes into play. But yeah, you're right that there was a time when uh, there weren't too many options, right? Now there's this paradox of choice. You go on OTT, any OTT platform, you have so many films and so many things to choose from. Just the other day, I was trying to stream through Netflix. I spent half an hour trying to look through something to watch, and I didn't end up seeing anything at all. And I just put it off. So it's just that a lot of stuff and so many people to see. So it's, yeah.
I think perhaps Shah Rukh Khan, who has a crowd at Mannat, Mr. Bachchan has a Sunday viewing, and Ranbir Kapoor is not on social media.
Yeah.
Somewhere they say maybe they could be, because they still retain that kind of elusivity. Or do you think, because everyone keeps comparing to the time, the 70s, 80s, ki wo star nahi raha, or maybe the cinema has changed.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything. Like, again, you can't really say that because you're elusive, there's a certain enigma that's created. I mean, like, yeah, I do truly believe this, that because of even the PAP culture right now, which is great for people who constantly want to be seen below their apartments or homes. I truly believe that when you constantly do that on a day-to-day basis, what is the kick the audience is getting out of seeing you on the big screen? They should yearn to see you, right?
Absolutely.
If you're constantly being seen day in and day out, you have to draw the line somewhere. And I don't know if it's just validation. It's also someone is telling them that, okay, you have to be seen like day in and day out. But there is no math to it. There is no formula to success. It's not like, okay, you just be an elusive star and you will work at the box office. It's got a lot to do with your charisma. It's how the audience perceives you. They have to like you eventually. And where does that likeness come from? You can't quantify that. It's something that you can't put your finger on. It's you can't really. There's nothing formulaic about it. Even like the film, you don't know what works and what doesn't work. Everyone puts out a film with their best intentions, and then there's some other factor that's not in our control, some magic that makes things work. Absolutely. So there is no formula.
So now coming to Tiger 3, third in the franchise. So you were okay to play the antagonist, the Atish, and also a lot of people thought that you had an Indian Indian agent saving, so the called leader of the enemy nation was too gimmicky. What is your take?
I don't think it was gimmicky. I think there's a divided kind of thought to that. I think, I think if we had gone the traditional route, which is very fashionable, to kind of bash the other, that kind of very traditional jingoism that has been shown in our films, that might have got a couple of positive reactions from a certain section of the audience. But then the audience would probably also say that, okay, this is pretty been there, done that. We have seen this before. So show us something that's new. And then when you show them something that's new, the same people will sit up and say that, okay, we don't want to see this. So there's a catch both ways, right? It just depends on your idea, your story, and how you want to tell that story. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a very progressive thought that's been shown in the film. Now, if you want to go that regressive way and still see bashing the other as being okay, let's clap for that, then yeah, according to me, it's a very regressive thought. Yeah, and I mean, what are your thoughts about it? What do you think?
I was okay with it. I kind of really enjoyed the film, but then,
Yeah,
I'm just hearing the chatter around me. There's some
yeah,
part blockbuster, and also, these days everything is being equated, because back in the day you had that 100 crore. अगर आपका 150 करोड़ तो आप हिट, अब वो एक ने 1000 करोड़ बना दिया, तो अब उसके नीचे कुछ भी है तो
yeah.
they say that it won't work. Do you really feel this math? I mean, at the end of the day, it's the distributor's job and the producers. I mean, for our
It's
audience,
ridiculous.
it doesn't
It's
matter.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So, what is your take? Because being an
No,
industry,
it's very ridiculous. See the film. No, sorry to cut you off. The film obviously has garnered huge profits for the producer, and that's my only barometer. It has a film which came with a lot of opposition,
yeah,
and it's historically considered as the biggest box office hit during Diwali,
yeah.
and that speaks volumes, right?
I watched it on the Bali
And
morning.
yes, and you have a film coming out on a Sunday, never been done in the industry before. Seen as a huge gamble, but we had to play that because Friday and Saturday being a pre-Diwali period of being a huge lull for people actually not venturing out of theaters, and in that time coming out on a Sunday, and then coming on opposition of the matches of India playing superbly, right, and still sustaining through the collections. It's not that binary, it's you have to see it with a lot of other units at play. You can't just put every film in the same box and say that, okay, you got to also see the terrain at that point of time,
Yeah.
and eventually see if it's profitable, which the film is. So I think we're very happy. But then, like I said, there will always be people who will tom about it and shoot the film down. If a film does a certain amount of collections, then they will probably critically bash that film. Or either way, someone's always going to say something about a film. So I think, yeah, but I stay away from this. I'll be honest. For this film, I happened to come onto social media for a bit. For the first 6 hours after the film release, I was like, what? I couldn't gather some of the reactions that were coming out. A lot to do with the question you asked before.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand. I just went off it. I was like, it's more peaceful to not constantly see, this whole bombarding of messages that don't have any logic. Everyone's got their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But it's also, you shouldn't take all of that in.
What was the energy like on the set? Because you had everyone doing action. There is Katrina doing action, superlative action. There's you,
Yeah.
Salman. There's things flying off. And what was it like? Charged energy.
Oh, it was fantastic. First of all, I feel very blessed to be part of this team. I've always, I've been a huge fan of the franchise. And doing a film with YRF, with Salman, with Katrina, it was phenomenal. And also with Manish, a super addition of a director who brought something new to the table for the third installment. And yeah, it was just high octane. The action scenes, although I had that bit later on with Salman, that was great. Going head to head with Salman in that scene was pretty fun. We shot that scene over the course of 7 days. And was quite thrilling. But of course, physically, they had three more action set pieces that they did, which is, I'm sure, must have been really physically training. Because the film is almost shot over the course of 100 days plus.
Wow.
And each action set block would take at least a week to 10 days. I believe the Tiger Pathan sequence took close to around 15 days to shoot.
Wow.
That's a hell of a lot of time to shoot that. But it shows, I mean, the scale of the action. And of course, the work didn't stop there. The VFX and, polishing those scenes, it was pretty spectacular.
It's funny in show spy, narratives. It's always the antagonist who is the one that you come out thinking about, who leaves a part of him, whether it was John in Pathan, whether it's you. It's always the
Yeah.
antagonist because you know that isko to apna ye kaam karna hi hai, ye isko kaam karna hai, but wo somewhere were you anticipating that aisa that people were expecting someone like, you know?
I mean, yes, the thing is, antagonists have there's also always been a lure and this kind of intrigue about antagonists, about their motives. The characters that take certain risks. There's a psyche there that you don't completely understand. And what I found fascinating about Atish, and this is why I signed up, was the backstory of the character. That he comes from a place where there's an incident that happens to him, and in his life, whatever he's doing for him, is justified for what he's doing. He might have a different political ideology, but like they say, the antagonists they're the heroes of their own narrative.
Absolutely.
And likewise, for a person like Atish, he's coming from a place where he feels wronged, and you see that. And in the course of the events, you might, of course, there are times you might, go with the protagonist and his motive, but you also feel like, okay, what Atish is doing, it's coming from a place where he thinks he is right.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have done that if the flashback scene wasn't there for Atish. I'd said this in many of interviews when Manish told me, okay, we are looking at you to play the antagonist in this film. I kind of for a second I was like, okay, probably not. But then we narrated the script. He narrated Atish's part. I was like, this is extremely meaty part and very, very interesting. The motive that he has to the film, and it's always been, like I said earlier, to kind of bad guys. Like even when you see in Western cinema, like you see the Joker's character in Batman, you come out thinking about the Joker. There's something about the character. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And it's also interesting with Salman. I mean, you and me belong to the same generation. I think there was already stars, when we all started watching. Yeah. How have they maintained their relevance? I mean, the Khans are like 60 now, never touching 60.
No, touching. Don't say that. I think it's 55, right? I don't know. Yeah, 55. I'm wrong.
We see how the other happening, they would be closer to 60.
Yeah, men get very touchy about the age after 40. I'll just shoot off someone if they say that I'm eating more than 44 right now. But I think there's something about the way they've carried themselves through these years.
And the fandom.
There's this fandom is there, but also there is a certain amount of struggle because they have seen their lows also. And then bouncing from those lows, there's something to take home from that. There's something to learn. And I think I remember watching him in this first film when I was in school. I don't remember what my age was at that time. Maine Pyar Kiya, I think, came out. I don't remember when. No, not the first one, second one. Maine Pyar Kiya.
Maine Pyar Kiya, I was in school.
1989. So I don't know which class I was in, but I was in school. It was, and then seeing him do so many different kind of characters through these decades and staying relevant. It's quite commendable. It's something that it's aspirational in a way.
Yeah, and look at Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, 4 years, no release. Before you go right now, he's been back with a banger. Two banger release.
Yeah.
One cover.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, reinventing yourself. Again, 4 years is a long time in the sense when you talk about the industry. And I think that was a very calculated and well thought out decision to kind of reinvent and come out with a character that no one expected him to come out with, a complete new avatar of an action star. So I think that worked in a big way.
And now you are also going to make your Telugu debut, OG.
Yes.
Yeah. Pavan Kalyan, what can you tell us about it?
Not much, but it's an interesting space. It's my first Telugu film. It's made by the Telugu film industry, but it's going to come out in multiple languages. So it's kind of a pan-India film, and it's interesting. It's got this huge scale. That's all I can talk about it right now. But it's interesting. I think it'll come out sometime in the first quarter, hopefully next year, or maybe by June. But it's an interesting one.
But I'm also liking this pan India totally, because now you have Junior NTR coming into the Spyverse. You are
Yeah.
going there. So it's an interesting mix. I think it's taken us quite
Yes.
a while, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's this constant chatter also about, okay, which industry is doing better after COVID. There was this Bollywood bashing, like, okay, you guys have to pull your socks, and the kind of films that they're doing are not working at the box office. And there's been this huge comeback this year. But I think it's just pointless to talk about this, because right now they have become pan-India films. There are actors from the southern film industry coming working with the Hindi film industry from here, there, and more the merrier. The thing is, right now it's become so much more difficult to make a theatrical film run. There's so many variables that you bring on the table to make the audience want to purchase that ticket, because OTT has made it so difficult for us. There's so much of content here. What is it that will draw you to the theaters? So you have to think out of the box. You have to get as many actors together to bring that draw into a film. That I think is going to be it's happening right now. It is the future. I mean, Hollywood is doing it. Most of the films are just the Marvel films are doing well. Even their box office hasn't been the best in the past few years. It's just those Marvel films, those big tentpole films that are doing well, and rightfully so. I mean, that's what the audience wants to watch. I think that's what's we're following suit here.
Also creating a Marvel-like universe with the Spyverse.
Yeah, and I think that was a bit of an afterthought. Also, I think they've realized also taking a page from the West. I don't think this was a thought when they made War. I could be wrong. I think after Pathan and now Tiger coming out, I think there was a thought after Pathan that, kind of, or during Pathan, to kind of sync these spies into kind of a certain universe. And there would be an intrigue in that, because there has been in the past so many years in Hollywood, and those films are doing spectacularly well. So.
Absolutely. Since you're doing OG, who for you is the ultimate OG? Who is the OG?
I think Mr. Bachchan.
Yeah, I think he's everyone's. He is the OG.
He is the OG. I mean, I've grown up seeing his films, and I told him this when I shot with him for Chere. I was like, he's that definitive thing of, there's no actor right now that hasn't learned something from the craft watching his films. He just came out with this very, very, his aura and his style of acting, which is kind of understated, because in the 80s also you had this huge barrage of actors that always played the characters a little upkey and over the top. I think Mr. Bachchan got a little bit of sophistication to his performances. Didn't have to go that loud, but he had a very commanding screen presence, and I think we all kind of took from that and learned from that.
And who is one actor you're totally impressed by in this current slot, in this generation? Could be male, female. Somebody will just like, what a talent.
I don't know, give me some options.
Pardon?
Give me some options.
There's Alia, there is Ranbir, there is Deepika.
Again, picking one would be very, very, I think it's a bit of all. I think everyone's got their unique talents, and they've done so well for themselves. So yeah.
True that. Anyways, thank you so much. What can we look forward to now? I mean, since you're so hush about OG, what is?
I mean, next in the slate, there's a show with Hermetic, which is called Showtime.
Yes.
It's coming out sometime in. I still don't know. I can't give a release date right now, because there aren't any. We're not really.
Secrets of Bollywood out.
Yeah, kind of. And that's there. Then there's Ground Zero, which is with Excel. That's an interesting one. And then there's OG. But none of these films have any specific release date that has been planned out. So, but I'm guessing early next year.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure speaking to you. And
thank you, Pooja.
Next time. Thank you so much.
Sure. Take care. Take care. See you. Bye-bye.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.